Greetings, this is Russ Moody with what's going to be a three-part series of the final installment of the Skaven Visual Tactica, and this one is on Skaven Dirty Tricks. Going on this first part, somebody asked a question on what to do about a Tzeentch Chosen Star. And so what I've got here with the Dirty Tricks section, I'm going to show you how to use a single unit of slaves and a couple supporting units to tar pit any super nasty unit for the entire game. So what I've got here is I've set up the board, and I've got a unit of 8 gutter runners that have been deployed as scouts forward. And then you see there's a big unit of black orcs, which arguably they're not the nastiest thing, but they're just pretty much a proxy for anything that you wouldn't want to fight. This would be the Grave Guard, the White Lions, the Chosen. And then you see back 24 inches away from them is a big block of 60 slaves. And there's supposed to be a Warlock Engineer in there. I forgot to put him there, but you'll need at least a 15-point Warlock Engineer. This can also be the Warlock Engineer with the Doom Rocket if you'd like. That works out fine. It's not going to affect anything. You don't want him to have a magic level, as then it's going to turn into a waste of points. So what happens here, that Death Star unit rushes forward, which is what Death Star units will do. And you're just going to stand there and kind of watch. And then if he tries to charge your gunner runners, you're going to flee. Or if not, you're just going to run away and move them back out of charge distance. So hopefully he can't get. He still might charge, try and charge, whatever. But most likely he's not going to take the chance, and wanting to get that unit into combat as quick as possible, he's just going to continue to march forward. And there we have that, just still coming straight at you. He might try and go either to the right or the left. If that happens, then you just merely have your unit step right or left to keep pace. Your Skaven, your move 5, you're usually a little bit faster than anything that's trying to any Death Star unit that's trying to get around you, so you can just keep pace with those slaves and keep them in front. So when they get within a good charge range, what you're going to do is you're going to move your starting first. You're going to move your Warlock Engineer, so he's 1 inch directly in front of that unit, and so that they can't wheel past him, they can't do anything. There's no way to get around him other than to charge him. And then farther back from that, you're going to position your slave block so that if you draw an angle, that the last guy there draws a line straight to pretty much the end guy of the deadly unit. And then your gutter runners, as you see, they're positioning themselves a little more than an inch, but you want about an inch from your slaves, and then 1.5 inches, closer to 2 inches away from the deadly unit, because they're going to try and wheel when they charge that engineer, and so you don't want them to be able to wheel enough to slide over to clip you. So you need to be 1.5 inches, 2 inches to be safe. And then what happens is they have no choice. They can either stand there, try and move sideways, or move back. If they do either of those, then on your turn you just adjust accordingly to stay in this formation. So eventually just forcing him to charge in against that Warlock Engineer, who dies, and then he overruns and clips your slave unit like so that he's got 1, possibly 2 models in base contact with your slave unit. And then your gutter runners, as you see, are right there in position. The other thing that works is if he happens this is actually going to take place on his turn. So if you're worried about getting it exactly right, this is ideal. Anyway, so he overruns. If he happens to overrun on your turn for whatever reason, say you've done this with a different unit to roadblock, I just use the Warlock Engineer because he's going to go away 1 turn. But anyway, what you want is this, as you see here, those gutter runners are are pretty much 1 inch away, maybe a little bit less from that Death Star unit, and now they're locked here. And the trick is the real tricky thing here, and a warning about this tactic is this is not to be used on. Now what you've got here is you've got them locked in here. Gunner runners are a shooting unit, and they can not only can they shoot in there, but what you've really done is you've stopped him from combat reforming. Because according to the rules, you have to stay 1 inch away. And the only way he can bring more models into that slave unit is by combat reforming, but he's not allowed to do that because he has to stay 1 inch away. Therefore, his huge unit that has so many attacks is now locked, stuck at, in this case it would be 2 models and then plus whatever supporting attacks against your unit of slaves. Meaning that he's not... the nastiest combination you can think of would be, say, witch elves with a +1 attack and mind razored. But even then that's going to be 8. It'll be a total of 12 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s. So at worst, you're not even going to lose. You're going to still lose less than 10 slaves at combat phase. So that amounts to 4 rounds, 5 rounds of combat, and that's a worst case scenario if you set it up this way. So what that means is you've taken out that huge, massive point sink is now stuck, killing 200 some odd points for the entire game, and that's really the ideal way of dealing with say a chosen Death Star or anything you don't want to fight. I mean, there's ways to kill it, but really that's the best solution, is just get him to waste those points and then use all your extra points, your now 500, 600 point advantage, to destroy the rest of the army and just leave that block intact. Anyway, that's it for this, and this is part 1. Part 2 will show up shortly. Thank you.